boot the leg, I can put tension through my feet here, and when I turn, put my shoulder on the mat as I look behind me, like this is where my mother's sitting out in the stands here, cheering for me. Right, then I can get the finish. Okay. So from here, when we're seated and going against someone who's standing here, they typically have one foot in front of the other if you're actually trying to pass our guy. Okay. From here, when we're out far here, you just tilt to one side here. So if I want to hook with my left, I'm planting my right hand so I can tilt, and I'm just gonna sneak my hook in here. Not with a fully extended leg, but I want to scoot it close enough where I can just sneak my foot behind the flex angle here, and I'm flexing my toes for a sticky hook here. Now, a lot of the times when you get in here, you start to close the distance and get in here, people will start to move around, try to circle or whatever. As they try to circle, yeah, if he circles this way, my hook stays. Okay, but sometimes he'll try to move and pull their foot out of the way. This sticky hook here will follow them, okay? Our partner's really good, they can pommel their foot out, but guys, a lot of the time when you scoot in here and you just sneak this foot in, and the person on top is looking to circle, move around here, just this sticky hook here will stay attached here if we keep a good flex. Now, as soon as flex circles and lift the foot, it's pretty easy for me to just pull his leg in, and we're in single leg X. Okay, I annoy a lot of people by doing this sort of stuff here. Once we get in, we can either be elbow deep or we can just be wrist deep here with our elbow tight to our body. From here, if you've been here before, you know the whole thing. We need his feet to be in one line here. So this leg is back. I'm gonna post my hand. I'm gonna make sure everything is tied up here. I'm just gonna lean my head to my hand and pull his knee towards my hand here. Okay, this will bring the other foot close. Now with the X guard, we want to go under the leg here, but for the single leg X, I just want to think about throwing my head to his heel. And from here, this leg extends. We shoot our hips up. Left foot here on the hip, right foot underneath the far butt cheek, and I pinch my knee and ankle together here. From down here, I either have my elbow tight to my ribs here, or have an angle lock grip, and we're in. It's all about, we want to pull ourselves under our partner here and shoot our hips up and connect ourselves tight to one leg. Basically, the only control we have of the second leg is that foot behind the butt, right? So when we go here, you can push on this leg and throw your head under. I use that sometimes, but try to just like not involve this arm at all. Keep it tucked and look how tight I am. When I go under Fred here, his leg becomes light. This leg is light here. Then I extend through. So it's really like I'm go under his base as much as possible. It's gonna force his weight on this leg and make it easy for me to shoot through here. Once we get here, hips high, knee and ankle together. This foot here, super flexed. I make sure I have a sticky hook here behind his butt on this far side, because this is basically my only control over the other leg. From here, we want to look to hit a twist sweep, a twist of balance first, to see if we can knock him to the mat with that. So I'm going to lift my hips high, like I'm trying to bring my hips up and around the corner here. My knees pinch together and point to my left, and I make sure that I'm pushing his ankle in with my elbow. Either here or with the angle lock grip, it's pretty easy. It's just pinching in here. If your partner has good base, like Freddy, it will take a couple of back steps before they hit the mat. Okay? So it's about keeping tension in the sweep. So guys, once you get in here, everything tight here. Your butt needs to be off the mat. Now, I lift. I'm trying to bring my hips up and around here to make his knee point out here. Here. It's not a big explosive sweep. It's basically, I lift up. When I lift my hips up here and I pin his ankle, I'm doing this. It's gonna bring his butt to the mat. If I don't pinch the foot in, he can step it out for base. So if I don't pinch the foot in, he can move it and he won't be knocked out. Okay? So I lift, I go, I knock him down. Okay, from here, guys, I can start to just go straight into angle locks. Okay, we'll look at how to finish those a little bit later. But for now, let's just do a little drill here. So my foot here is on the outside, and this is the most vulnerable part of this leg entanglement here, is this outside foot here. So for the drill, when I knock Freddy down here, he's gonna take this foot off the hip to look to jump over my legs, okay? Here. Once he jumps over, my knee stays on the outside, and now this foot goes back on the inside. So, look at this configuration here. My foot is on the inside of his hips here. But, there's some different names for it, called butterfly hook or like a false hook, right here on the inside. And then I bring my top leg over to just go foot to foot here with a tight ankle lock grip. When Freddy tries to bring his hips off the mat here, I can lift my hips and I can step on his hip here, and it's very difficult for him to get up. If we were here, he pushed the foot off the hip, he can start to pop up here, and now we have to knock him down again. So the transition here, guys, your partner takes and strips this foot off the hip. Look how my knee stays in place, and now my foot goes to the inside of the hip here with a false hook. Top foot goes over here, either on the hip or foot over foot. And I just hold on to his leg here to make sure his foot doesn't slip out. Guys, you don't have to wait for your partner to push the foot off the hip. You can also proactively, like if you kick a little bit with this shin and slide back, you can put this foot here by yourself, okay? I'm just putting it in as a drill because most people who are a little bit experienced about defending foot locks will push the foot off the hip. We get in, we cover here, right? I'm really stepping here. Like this knee is kind of, I'm turning my toes down, my heel up, and I'm pinching in with the knee just to create a lot of tension in the leg here. This foot here on top is more of an assistance of protecting this hook and keeping maximum weight over his hip. From here, guys, we have to play a game of loosening and retightening the grip. Problem with a lot of ankle locks is people have one stiff grip that's not ideal, and then they keep it and try to bridge into the foot. It's not gonna happen. We need to loosen everything up and retighten it close to the foot as possible. Basically, I try to be right around this little knob here. This is where I want my elbow. And I wanna really try to press everything in here. So playing this tightening game is a lot easier when we have this foot on the inside, because I can kick him away and I can adjust the distance. I just have to make sure that I monitor the top of the leg so I don't loosen up and he just pulls everything straight back. Okay, so this one blocks that for a moment. So Freddy tries to scoot away here. I can stay sticky. Now, what's great from here about this position being more open is he's more inclined to move around, and that will help me adjust the ankle lock. So actually his own movements will help me get the tight grip. So I start with a fairly tight grip. I control above the knee. If Freddy tries to get up, move around, I can start to loosen up and readjust here. So I suck my belly in, I take my elbow out, and I make a lot of space here. Now I can slide my body to where I want it, and I can curl in here. So this knot here on the side is sticking out. My elbow is pushing in. I'm pushing in his foot towards my ribs with my elbow here. Getting this hand high on the body here. Once I feel this tightness here, this is pretty good. 2 feet on the hip will make the finish a lot easier. So I just need to lock up my hands here. Notice that I'm curled up here. I can either go rear naked choke grip, or I can go with the Polish grip here, we wrap around like this, or I can go elbow to elbow if I feel like both of those grips hurt my wrists. Okay, but I need the foot super tight here. Now from here, it's about turning to my shoulder and bringing I want to try to bring my head around the corner, back and around the corner as I put my shoulder on the mat here. That tap came without kicking my legs, guys, and really hipping in. So when I'm super tight here, it should feel for Freddy like he's almost can slip his foot out, and then it's tight. Now he's really fucked because he can't boot the leg. I can put tension through my feet here, and when I turn, put my shoulder on the mat as I look behind me, like this is where my mother's sitting out in the stands here, cheering for me. right? Then I can get the finish. See, he tapped there, but I can go all the way to the shoulder and go from here to belly down, okay? So guys, once you get this inside hook, it's about loosening up by taking my elbow out and my chest back, and then shooting through. So we want the nut of his ankle outside here. We want our hand high on our chest. If we do this, it's impossible to get the hand high on the chest. If we curl in, we can get it. We adjust. And then from here, it's about eyes, ears going over the shoulder as I turn around the corner, hips come up. And here it's just a little bit of leg kicking. Here. So this is a really, really strong finish. And sometimes we can just use a partner's movement to basically adjust ourselves into the position. So one of the cruelest things you can do here is be a little bit loose, and your partner tries to pull their foot out, and they help set the lock for you. Okay? So try to really focus on getting here, pushing the foot into your ribs, getting your hand high. You want a hollow chest here. You want to lock up, and then from here you want to extend. You don't want to be here and then extend. It's time to get used to. Try to like set everything tight gradually, and then build up the pressure. If you're here and you're just fishing like a madman in the drills, that means that your grip is not tight enough. Okay? We shoot up. All is great, right? But what if we can't put him down with the twist sweep? Okay? What if when I try to do it, Freddy backsteps, and he keeps his head leaned forward, so now there's no tension. Okay, that could be one of the problems. Another problem is that maybe he's just super good at pushing the foot off the hip. What do I do now? When the foot goes off the hip, my hips drop. What do I do? Okay, there's one solution that works for both problems, and that's bringing him overhead. So from here, right, I off-balance him, he backsteps, and I can't take him any further. He leans his head back, his foot is in position. I can't take him to the side anymore. Because Freddy's head is leaning forward, now I have the chance to off-balance him forward, but I have to take my foot off the hip. Left foot drops, right foot here goes right in the middle here with a tight hook here. I plant my left foot that was on the hip before, I lift my hips, and then I single leg bridge him over my head here. I like to grab, just block the far leg to keep his leg in check, and now I can shoot my hips up. I could go back here and try to twist sweep him as he stands up again. But I can also, from here, look to go straight to my false hook. So from here, right foot goes behind the buttocks, and I put my false hook in. I can start to work the ankle lock from down here. So I put the foot in here. I start with this as a hook here. Now maybe Freddy pushes up again. And I'm playing a single leg X with the false hook. From here, I can use that foot on the hip to push him away and take his foot off the mat here with the help of this hand here. Now from here, I can actually start to finish the ankle lock if I can put his heel on my ribs so he can't stand on the mat. Okay? If he can put his whole foot on the mat, there's no ankle lock. If I extend him and put his heel on my ribs, he's not standing on the ground, he's standing on me. I lock up here, elbow to elbow is nice here, I feel, but also the Polish grip is good. And from here, I focus on pushing him away. I push the heel into the ribs, and I extend here. If I need more power, and I can finish him standing. Same thing goes if you push the foot off the hip. Step, kick him forward. When you shoot up, put the false hook in. Make sure your knee's on the outside and your foot is right on the hip. From here, I can use my far leg to splay his legs apart. I can use the foot on the hip to make distance. But what I really want is I want to kick him a little bit so I take the weight off the leg. Then I use my hand here in the shin with my foot to take his foot off the mat and put it on my ribs. Lock up. From here, knee pinches in, feet extend, chest go up. If I need more power, here. If he falls to the mat, we already know what to do from here. It's important to keep a tight inside hook, guys. So make sure when you put your false hook in that you have a good pinch with the knee and your toes are turning out here. This leg should be sticky by itself. Okay, so look how I can manipulate Freddy just by using my hook, my false hook, and my regular hook here. I can splay his legs apart, I can pull them in, I can go double angle. So I can play between constantly off balancing him, taking his foot off the mat, and finishing, okay? Really sucks to be stuck here. So, of course, it's fun to learn and do as well.